After 65, peace becomes more valuable than gold. But did you know that sharing too much with your own family could disturb that peace? In today's video, we're revealing 5 personal secrets that seniors should keep to themselves, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. You might be surprised by number 4, and it just might change how you approach your relationships forever. Stay with us to the end, because the last one is the most overlooked, and the most powerful. Number 1. Your full financial details. Reaching the age of 65 is a major life milestone. For many, it marks the beginning of retirement, a time to finally slow down, enjoy the fruits of your labor, and embrace the freedom you've earned. Over the years, you may have worked hard, saved diligently, and built a comfortable financial cushion for yourself. Naturally, you may feel compelled to share your financial situation with your children or other family members. After all, transparency seems like a way to promote trust. But when it comes to your money, especially after 65, total transparency can become a trap, one that quietly steals your peace of mind and independence. Disclosing too much about your finances can shift the dynamic in your family. Once your loved ones know exactly what you have, how much you've saved, your income from pensions or investments, or the value of your home, it can influence how they treat you, how they plan their own futures, and how they relate to you. Even if their intentions are good, they may begin to look at your financial life not just as yours, but as something tied to their expectations. This creates an invisible pressure that can be hard to shake. What begins as a casual conversation about retirement savings or estate planning can subtly evolve into unsolicited advice, judgment, or even emotional pressure. You may hear comments like, "Maybe you should downsize," or "Why don't you help your granddaughter with her college loan?" These suggestions might sound innocent, but over time, they can erode your sense of control. What's worse, if your financial boundaries are not clearly defined, your generosity may become expected instead of appreciated. In some families, full financial disclosure can unintentionally lead to rivalry among siblings. If your children are aware of what you own or how you plan to distribute your assets, they may begin comparing what each person might receive. These unspoken comparisons can lead to tension, jealousy, or even passive-aggressive behavior. Family harmony can quickly become strained when inheritance becomes a topic of speculation or entitlement. It's important to understand that your financial privacy is not a form of secrecy, it's a form of protection. At this stage in life, you need to protect not only your money but your emotional well-being and independence. By keeping the full details of your finances private, you safeguard yourself from being viewed as merely a resource, instead of a respected elder living life on your own terms. Another concern is the potential for control. When family members know the extent of your resources, they may begin to offer strong opinions, or worse, take control over how your money is managed. Even well-meaning relatives might try to help by suggesting you put everything in their name, or insisting on co-signing documents. These actions can make you feel like you're no longer in charge of your own life, and in some unfortunate cases, can lead to financial abuse or manipulation. You also deserve the freedom to make decisions without explaining yourself. Maybe you want to take a cruise, buy a new sofa, donate to a cause you care about, or simply enjoy a few indulgences. When people know your financial situation in detail, they may question your choices, even if they don't say so directly. Suddenly, you find yourself justifying purchases or feeling guilty for spending your own money. This is your time. You've worked hard for decades, faced challenges, made sacrifices, and survived tough times. Your money should now serve you, not the opinions of others. Keeping your finances private allows you to live your retirement years with dignity, joy, and spontaneity, without being second-guessed. Of course, some sharing is necessary, especially when it comes to planning for the future. It's wise to designate a power of attorney, create a legal will, and let a trusted person know where to find important documents in case of emergency. But this doesn't mean sharing every bank balance, every investment, or every financial detail. There's a difference between being prepared and being overexposed. If you feel the need to talk through your financial decisions, consider working with a professional. Financial advisors, estate planners, and elder law attorneys can offer objective advice without emotional baggage. They're trained to help you plan for longevity, healthcare, and legacy goals in a way that keeps your best interests at the center. What's also important to remember is that financial stress in retirement often comes not from a lack of money, but from poor boundaries and unclear expectations. When you draw clear lines around your finances, you free yourself from the burden of other people's demands and reactions. This peace of mind is priceless. It's not uncommon for seniors to feel torn between wanting to support their families and needing to protect their own future. The desire to help is deeply human, but it should never come at the cost of your security. And remember, sometimes, helping too much can prevent the next generation from growing stronger on their own. By keeping your full financial picture private, you protect your independence, but you also preserve something just as valuable, your relationships. When money is not at the center of your connection with your children or grandchildren, there's more room for love, respect, and genuine interaction. A peaceful retirement doesn't require cutting people off, it requires thoughtful boundaries. And when it comes to your finances, those boundaries are best defined by you, not your family. In the end, your financial legacy is not just about how much you leave behind, but how you choose to live in your final decades. Keeping the full story of your finances to yourself might be the most loving, wise, and empowering choice you ever make. If you found this advice helpful so far, please take a moment to click the like button. It really helps support this channel and lets us know that these topics matter to you. And if you'd like to hear more thoughtful advice for a peaceful and empowered life after 60, don't forget to subscribe and tap the notification bell so you won't miss future videos. Now, let's continue with the second secret you might want to keep to yourself after 65. Number 2. Your true opinions about their life choices. One of the most difficult lessons that comes with age is learning when to speak and when to stay silent. As someone who has lived through decades of change, hardship, and growth, you carry a wealth of life experience. It's only natural to want to share that wisdom, especially with your children and grandchildren. You've seen what works, what doesn't, and what often leads to regret. But after 65, peace often depends on knowing which truths are better kept to yourself. Your children are now adults. They make decisions about their marriages, careers, parenting styles, and even their health in ways that may seem unfamiliar, or even wrong, to you. You might watch from a distance and think, if only they'd listen, or I would never have done it that way. And while your intentions may be loving, sharing those thoughts too freely can lead to hurt feelings, misunderstandings, or distance that's hard to repair. Offering your opinion, even gently, can often be interpreted as criticism. People rarely enjoy being corrected, especially when they haven't asked for input. What you see as helpful insight, they may experience as judgment. And once that wall of defensiveness goes up, it can be hard to bring it back down. This is particularly true when it comes to how your children raise their own children. You may feel tempted to comment on everything, from discipline to screen time to the way they speak to their kids. And while you may be right about some things, unsolicited advice can make your adult children feel that you don't trust their abilities or respect their choices. One of the most loving things you can do as a parent or grandparent is allow the next generation to find their own way. That means letting them make mistakes, even when it's hard to watch. It means resisting the urge to constantly correct or guide, and instead offering support only when it's requested. There's a deep sense of freedom that comes when you accept that your role has changed. You are no longer the daily decision maker or disciplinarian. You've already fulfilled those duties. Now, you can be something even more powerful, a calming, supportive presence who brings wisdom when asked, but never imposes it. That doesn't mean you should never share your thoughts. There may be moments when a gentle suggestion or a heartfelt story from your past can have a positive impact. The key is knowing when to speak, and more importantly, when to wait. Timing and tone are everything. Before offering your opinion, ask yourself 3 questions. Was I asked? Will this help or hurt the relationship? And finally, am I sharing this to control, or to truly support? If you answer honestly, you'll often find that staying quiet leads to greater peace. If you really need to express something for your own emotional balance, find a safe space to do it. A trusted friend, a spouse, or even a personal journal can provide an outlet for those opinions that are better processed privately than spoken aloud. The reality is, some truths do more damage than good. You may believe you're helping, but if your words cause someone to feel criticized, dismissed, or inadequate, the result will be emotional distance. At this stage of life, maintaining connection is far more valuable than proving a point. By keeping certain thoughts to yourself, you're not being dishonest, you're being wise. Silence can be an act of love. It says, I trust you to live your own life. That simple message can do more for your relationship than any piece of advice ever could. And here's something else, when your children feel safe with you, safe from judgment, pressure, or unsolicited correction, they're more likely to come to you when they actually do need guidance. They'll seek out your opinion, not avoid it. You may even find that the more you respect their independence, the more they begin to respect your experience. That's the paradox of wisdom, it speaks loudest when it's offered the least. In the end, letting go of the need to shape someone else's life allows you to focus on living your own with greater peace. You can enjoy your family not as a source of worry or correction, but as a blessing to be cherished exactly as it is. So keep your deepest opinions in a safe place. Offer them when asked. And rest in the knowledge that your love, not your advice, is what truly shapes your legacy. Number 3. Details of your romantic or dating life. At a certain point in life, we stop worrying so much about what others think and start living more authentically. And for many people over 65, that includes opening the heart to companionship again, whether through dating, forming a close bond with a friend, or even remarrying. After years of loss, solitude, or simply a change in life circumstances, seeking love later in life is not only normal, it's healthy. But here's the truth, you don't owe anyone, not even your family, the full story of your romantic life. Romance in your senior years is deeply personal. It may bring joy, healing, and a renewed sense of vitality. But sharing every detail of your new relationship with your children or grandchildren can lead to misunderstandings, judgment, or even emotional tension. As much as they love you, your family members may have mixed feelings about you entering a new romantic chapter. Some may feel protective, worried that someone new could take advantage of your vulnerability, especially if you've been widowed or divorced. Others may struggle emotionally, feeling that your new partner is replacing a parent they've lost, or intruding on family traditions that used to feel sacred and familiar. These reactions are often rooted in emotion, not reason. You might think being open about your new partner will help ease those concerns. But in many cases, the more details you share, the more opinions you invite. Suddenly, your family might feel entitled to weigh in on your choices, where you go, who you're with, how serious things are, or whether they approve. And that scrutiny can put pressure on something that's supposed to feel light and joyful. Your romantic life is yours. You deserve the same privacy and respect that any adult expects. Just because you're over 65 doesn't mean you've stopped feeling love, desire, or the need for companionship. If anything, your emotional needs may be clearer now than ever before. You've lived enough to know what matters. By keeping your romantic life private, at least in its early stages, you give yourself space to grow that connection without outside interference. You allow yourself to explore how you feel without needing to explain it to anyone. That sense of autonomy is vital, especially after decades of living for others. When and if you do choose to share that part of your life with family, it should be on your terms and your timeline. Maybe once the relationship feels secure. Maybe once you've established mutual trust. Or maybe never at all, if it feels like it would cause more stress than joy. The choice is entirely yours. There's also the issue of boundaries. Some family members, especially adult children, may want to know everything. Where did you meet them? Are you serious? Are they moving in? But you are not required to explain your personal happiness in detail. A simple statement like, I've met someone who brings me joy, is more than enough. Just as you may have once protected your children from age-inappropriate conversations, it's perfectly fair to protect yourself from unnecessary probing or emotional resistance. You are not being secretive, you're being wise. Letting yourself love again, or even just enjoy the attention and company of someone new, can be one of the most healing experiences in later life. But that joy can be dampened if you're made to feel guilty or judged. Not everyone will understand your choices, but that doesn't mean your choices are wrong. Your happiness is not up for debate. You've earned the right to pursue connection in a way that feels safe, fulfilling, and honest to who you are now, not who you were decades ago. And if your family truly wants what's best for you, they will accept what brings you peace, even if it takes them some time. That said, it's still wise to be cautious, especially when emotions and finances are involved. While you don't need to reveal every detail of your dating life, it is important to protect yourself legally and financially. Love is beautiful, but trust should be earned gradually, and your long-term well-being should always come first. In the meantime, give yourself permission to keep certain parts of your heart for yourself. Not everything needs to be shared to be real. Sometimes, the most sacred joys are the ones held quietly, protected from outside noise. So whether you're quietly dating, have a new partner, or are simply open to the possibility, remember, this chapter is yours to write. And you don't have to co-author it with your family. Love after 65 is not about starting over. It's about continuing forward, with grace, clarity, and the courage to enjoy life on your own terms. Number 4. Past family conflicts or secrets. At some point in life, especially after 65, you begin to see the past differently. Time brings clarity. Old wounds don't sting quite the same way, and you may feel an urge to make sense of everything that's happened, particularly the painful parts. You might be tempted to finally set the record straight by revealing long-buried conflicts or family secrets. But before you speak, pause. Because sharing certain truths may do more harm than good. Family dynamics are delicate. What may feel like honest transparency to you might feel like a betrayal, an accusation, or a reopened wound to someone else. And even though you've lived long enough to know the value of truth, you've also lived long enough to know that not all truths need to be spoken aloud. Revealing past conflicts, especially those involving other family members, can have unintended ripple effects. A comment about an old betrayal, a sibling rivalry, or a marital mistake might stir up pain that others have worked hard to bury. What you see as closure may be received as disruption, even destruction. Sometimes we tell ourselves that by finally sharing an old secret, we are being honest. But often, it's a way of unburdening ourselves emotionally at the expense of others. If the person hearing the story can do nothing to change it, and especially if it may hurt their perception of someone they love, the value of that confession becomes questionable. Think of it this way: is this information going to heal, or will it only confuse and hurt? If your answer is, "I'm not sure," then it may be wiser to hold it privately. There's a quiet dignity in choosing peace over disclosure. That doesn't mean denying your truth, it means being selective about who deserves to hear it, and when. Consider family secrets involving infidelity, paternity, old addictions, or past financial mistakes. These can shift the foundation of someone's identity. Children may start to question their relationships with their parents. Siblings may begin to view one another differently. What's gained? Often very little, besides the drama that follows. Sometimes, silence is not secrecy, it's protection. By choosing not to speak certain things, you're preserving the harmony that your family has built over time. You're allowing the next generation to move forward without carrying the weight of mistakes that weren't theirs. There's also the danger of misremembering. Memory is not perfect. Over the years, feelings reshape facts. What you recall as truth may be colored by your own pain, perspective, or need for resolution. Once a story is told, it becomes permanent in the minds of others, true or not. That's a heavy responsibility. Now, this doesn't mean you should never speak of the past. In some cases, especially when healing is truly needed and welcomed by all parties, a gentle, honest conversation can bring people closer. But such moments must be chosen carefully,